FNAF in recent times has become a very sought-after DLC in Dead by Daylight. Now, as a Dead by Daylight player, obviously, it's clearly something that the majority of people want. However, most people are wanting, Springtrap, since of all the FNAF cast and characters, he is certainly the one that makes the most sense in Dead by Daylight. He's a killer without being an animatronic technically, and he also fits the overall quota that they would be looking for in Dead by Daylight. However, one character that is definitely more on the horror side that could add a little bit of that requested horror back into Dead by Daylight as a killer would be Ennard from the sister location. Of course, sister location, as far as Five Nights at Freddy's goes, is, in my opinion, the scariest of the FNAF series, since clearly it's the most terrifying in overall atmosphere, settings, and mostly the enemies. Ennard is an amalgamation of all of the Funtime animatronics, being Circus Baby, Funtime Freddy, Ballora, and Funtime Foxy. So, it definitely fits that uncanny scratch that everybody really needs. Additionally, it is terrifying itself, and it's also more on the malicious side. I would go as far as to say it's one of the most malicious enemies in the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, besides, of course, Springtrap and arguably Golden Freddy. So, with that in mind, I have created a template for Ennard in Dead by Daylight. I actually made this about a year ago or so, but yeah. So it starts with the name being either the Ennard or the Merged. Now, it is important to remember that this is overall an idea, and may not necessarily be as popular as adding Springtrap into Dead by Daylight, but it certainly is a good idea. Now, for the description, it would be, after the creation of Circus Baby's entertainment and rental and the underground sister location facility, Michael Afton found himself working in the facility underground. After several dreadful nights, the animatronics were sent to the scooping room, and Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy, Ballora, and Circus Baby's wiring combined. The souls of those inside of the animatronics merged together, and the mess of wiring creating an abomination, the Ennard. After Ennard tricked Michael Afton to access the scooping room, using Circus Baby's voice, Ennard left the facility. A black fog and endless night enveloped the bundles of wiring and gore, taking Ennard to an unknown place. It was outside the facility now, and with a whisper came a promise of revenge. A hunt had begun. So, obviously the entity, like it's able to do with some of the other killers, like the Spirit and the Artist, it sort of promises them a revenge, or a future in the realm as something that can essentially act on its impulse, while the entity kind of pokes at it constantly to get it to attack the survivors. In this case, obviously, it's outside of the facility now, which is what all of the Funtime animatronics wanted. Although, obviously, they don't have to be happy in the realm for the entity to take them. It just has to convince them to kill survivors for it. With that in mind, the description is vague enough to be open to other people understanding what Ennard is without having to play sister location. Now, of course, like every killer and survivor, it introduces 3 perks. The first perk being Eyes Around. All survivors with a 9, 18, or 27 meter radius of the killer, each of those numbers being for level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 being 9, 2 being 18, and 3 being 27 meter radius of the killer after another survivor is downed, have their orders revealed for 5, 10, or 15 seconds. Eyes Around's description would be, the bundle, the eyes, and consciousness of others has heightened your awareness exponentially. And the perk quote would be,
Funtime Foxy has already been here today. Funtime Funtime Freddy has already been here today. Ballora has already been here today. Circus Baby has already been here today.
And then the icon would be Ennard's back with 3 different eyes visible on multiple sides. The next perk, which is fitting for all kinds of FNAF characters, would be Limited Power. Whenever you hook a survivor, all generators within a 16, 24, or 30 meter radius will regress instantly by 6%. This has a cooldown of 120, 90, or 60 seconds. And the description will be, the cheap and old power system of the sister location facility has been mimicked in the trial. And the quote would be, due to the sensitive nature of the materials you may be exposed to, you will not be able to leave here until the cleanup crew arrives at 6 a.m., which is from hand unit. The limited power icon would be an image showing a generator light going out. Pretty basic. The last perk, which is easily my favorite, would be Deceitful Audio. Whenever you damage a generator, your terror radius will stay at that generator's location for 15, 20, to 25 seconds. This has a 40, 30, or to 20 second cooldown. Deceitful Audio's description would be, you learn that your prey listens for audible cues. You now know to make deceptive noises to avert attention. And the quote is, why didn't you trust me? Ennard, of course. And the image would be a survivor looking over at a generator with sound wave effects coming off of it. Also pretty basic. The base speed, like most licensed characters, would be 4.6 meters a second with a 32 meter terror radius, which is pretty basic, but of course the ability changes that. The special ability has 2 parts, like most normal killers now. The first part of its ability, well, the overall ability is called Animatronic Morph, and the special ability's icon is Ennard's clown mask damaged with half of the face being wires. So just Ennard's face, pretty much. The first part of the ability is called Ventilation Crawl, which is a lot like the Xenomorph now, but that wasn't out a year ago, so I already made it. Vent shafts spawn above windows and breakable walls on the map whenever Ennard is active. Ennard can crawl up and through these vents, allowing Ennard to transport to another vent anywhere on the map. These vents can be closed by survivors, although closing a vent consumes power, which damages generators within a 40-meter radius by 5% every time a vent is closed. It takes 1.5 seconds to close a vent. If a vent isn't opened within 30 seconds, then gens within a 45-meter radius will regress by 100%, or slow generator speeds by 75%. When a survivor is on a generator, it takes 4 to 6 seconds to transport to another vent. Vents will be highlighted yellow across the map when you're within a 5-meter radius of the vent, before you confirm which vent to go to. Kind of like Sadako or I guess kind of like Dredge's ability. In addition, obviously, like in the games, power is limited, which means that whenever they close a vent for too long, that's consuming power, which damages the generators around them. Although, the radius isn't meant to be too large, so that it's not constantly regressing every generator on the map or something. Although this would suck on Midwich. The second ability is Power Outage, which works kind of like Dredge's Nightfall. Whenever survivors have been injured 5 times, all generator speeds are slowed by 100%, and the survivors are given the exposed status effect. Power Outage lasts 45 seconds, and the build-up to Power Outage will reset after 45 seconds. Now, the speed at which the generator is slowed can vary. I put 100% here, but it can be decreased due to balancing. Once again, this is a general idea here. And then the add-ons are all pretty cool, pretty much just stuff from the sister location game. It starts with the brown add-ons. The first add-on being Funtime Freddy's Eye. Highlights regressing gens while in Power Outage, and the description is the severed left eye of Funtime Freddy, attached to Ennard as a heaping mass. There's a lot of these eye add-ons for each of the Funtime animatronics. The next add-on is more of kind of a meme add-on, because each killer has one of those. and it's the damaged spring lock. During power outage, the exposed status effect is replaced with the oblivious status effect. Power outage also lasts 10 seconds less, 100% extra blood points in the deviousness category. And the description is a loose spring lock damaged inside of a spare suit, which is a reference to your constant shaking on night 4 of Sister Location and how some of those spring locks that were in the suit became damaged. The next add-on is the destroyed keypad. Closing a vent takes 1.5 seconds longer. Pretty simple. The description is a hidden keypad in Circus Baby's head that was damaged in the scooping room. So, it's never really brought up again, but when you send Circus Baby to the scooping room, obviously she has that little keypad in her head, which you don't see afterward. So, that implies that it was destroyed. The next add-on is the flickering bulb. Survivors that are on a regressing generator have their auras highlighted when Ennard is within 15 meters of them. So, you have to be pretty close for the highlight effect to happen, but it's overall a pretty effective add-on. Moving on to the yellow add-ons, we have Funtime Foxy's Eye. Generators that regress during power outage are able to be manually damaged once, but generators regress 30% slower. So, instead of 100% regression, it's 70% regression, but you can damage them manually, just so if you have Pop Goes the Weasel, Overcharge, or some other ability like that, then you can manually damage the generator and regress it instantly. Next add-on is the Private Room Monitor. Killer Instinct activates for 3 seconds whenever somebody closes a vent. Pretty simple. The description is the camera monitor stored inside of the private room, an area Ennard is accessed. Real quick detail, I referenced the private room a couple times in the add-ons, which, even though the private room ending is the false ending in Sister Location, obviously in the actual timeline, Ennard isn't taken to the DBD realm, so it really is just a reference to it rather than stating that it's actually been there. And Ennard had time to access the private room prior without actually having to stay there, because obviously Michael wouldn't have gone to the private room in the actual ending. Next add-on is the Fredbear plush. When a survivor heals within 20 meters of a regressing generator during power outage, their aura is revealed for 6 seconds. The description is a plush found in the private room, a true gateway to the past. And the quote is, "Welcome to Fazbear's Pizza, where fantasy and fun come to life," which is from Phone Guy. And the icon is a Fredbear plush facing left. The next add-on is the Flash Beacon. Whenever a survivor is cleansing a totem within 10 meters of a vent, their auras are revealed for 5 seconds. This resets if they cancel the action. And the description is a flash beacon designed to blast light throughout Funtime Auditorium. And the quote is, "You have been provided with a flash beacon. Use it if you need to get your bearings and to ensure you don't bump into anything." Which is from the hand unit. The last yellow add-on is the Impaired Mini-Rena. Ennard gains a notification whenever a survivor vaults a window within 5 meters of a closed vent. Any speed of vaulting triggers the effect. The description is a mini-Rena that was desecrated by Michael Afton after he was hidden in a spare suit. And the icon is a mini-Rena with a broken right leg and a wire through its left eye. Now onto the green add-ons. The first one is the Bon Bon Puppet. Survivors that work on a generator during power outage are inflicted with the exhausted status effect. The effect lingers for 7 seconds after leaving the generator. So this is kind of like the Xenomorph's molted skin add-on, except it's not completely useless. The description is a Bonnie hand puppet worn by Funtime Freddy. The Bon Bon Puppet would evade workers with ease. And then a quote from Funtime Freddy. And the icon would be Bon Bon's, the puppet slumped over. Next is the hand unit keypad. If a generator instantly regresses from power consumption, the next survivor to work on the generator experiences 3 difficult skill checks with 35% reduced hit zones. Completing these skill checks rewards only 1% extra generator progress. Missing one of these skill checks results in an extra 5% loss of progress and a killer notification. And the description is a keypad that uses hand unit audio to communicate with workers, and a sticky note with the name Mike is written on it, which is obviously a reference to the keypad in the game. Next is the Biddy Bab head. Survivors that close vents are afflicted with the blindness and oblivious status effect for 20 seconds. And the description is a spare head of a Biddy Bab animatronic. Its eyes are closed to the horrors of the facility. Which is, the locker hiding part is in reference to how you hide from the Biddy Babs on night 2, I believe, in that little desk vent hatch. Next is the Funtime stage curtain. Ennard gains the undetectable status for 30 seconds after entering a vent that's within 20 meters of an injured survivor. And the description is a colorful and flashy stage curtain used in parties and shows. It's streaked with the blood of the unsuspecting. So, that's obviously for Funtime Foxy. The next add-on is the desk hiding hatch, which I just referenced. The auras of survivors hiding in lockers are revealed when preparing to enter a vent, or during power outage. The description is a handcrafted hatch made to cover the under part of a desk. Knowledge of hiding spots allows for better awareness. And then the quote is from Circus Baby, there's a crawl space under the desk, somewhere before you crafted it into a hiding place. And the icon is a metallic square shape covered with holes in it. So, Ennard would know how to essentially access hiding spots and know where hiding spots are because Circus Baby, which is a part of Ennard, told Afton in the game to hide in one of these desk hatches. Next are the purple add-ons, the first one being Bellora's Eye. When Ennard exits a vent, all survivors are inflicted with the oblivious status effect for 12 seconds, and the description is the same as the other eyes. One of the damaged eyes of Bellora attached to Ennard as a heaping mass, the icon being an eye with a thick eyelid loomed over it. Next is Circus Baby's Ice Cream. Whenever Ennard comes from a vent, Ennard's terror radius will be heard at another vent on the opposite side of the map for 20 seconds. The description is delicious ice cream dispensed by Circus Baby, before Elizabeth Afton was merged with the Circus Baby animatronic. And then the quote from Circus Baby is, something bad happened, something bad always happens, which is something she says multiple times. Next is the private room camera. Survivors that heal for the first 30 seconds of power outage have their auras revealed within a 120-meter radius. The add-on description is a camera that was perfectly aimed near a security door to capture a great deal of data in a short notice, which is, once again, in reference to how everyone who plays the private room, or in the private room, on night 5, they always have to quickly flip up the monitor and then flip it back down to conserve power. And then the last purple add-on is Circus Baby's voice modulator. Survivors gain the exposed status effect for 12 seconds when within a 10-meter radius of a vent that Ennard is traveling to. The description is, the voice modulator of Circus Baby used to lure Michael Afton to the scooping room in order to let Ennard escape the facility. And the quote is,
if we looked like you, then we could hide. If we looked like you, then we would have somewhere to go.
Which is from Ennard. And the icon is, it's shaped as a round speaker that is tilted slightly upward, because that's what the modulators look like in FNAF. Lastly are the iridescent add-ons, being Circus Baby's Eye. Power outage lasts 15 seconds longer, and if a survivor comes within 5 meters of a generator, then their auras are revealed for 6 seconds. And the description is a severed green-lit eye of Circus Baby, attached to Ennard as a heaping and powerful mass. And the quote is,
I was always acutely aware of how many there were in the room with me.
Lastly is the iridescent clown mask. Whenever power outage occurs, survivors are inflicted with the blindness and oblivious status effects for the first 25 seconds of it. Add-on description is a clown mask taken from the facility to hide the mess of wires and eyes on Ennard's face. The fog crafts a crystal-like iridescent version of the mask that reflects light effectively. And the quote is,
isn't this why you came here? To be with me again?
And the description is Ennard's signature clown mask with a glowing tint at the bottom of the mask. So, that's all the details there. All of the add-ons are meant to reflect different parts and different just details throughout the sister location game. The quotes are obviously meant to reflect different things that build up to Ennard, and the way the add-ons are set up is meant to build up kind of like how the nights are in the game. Starts with things that you might see on night 1 or 3, and then it ends with things that are a reference to the private room or night 5. So, yeah, that's all I've got. So, overall, Ennard would be a horrifying and very cool FNAF character to have in Dead by Daylight. And I think with maybe some better balancing on behavior's part, with some of these add-ons and perks, they could make it work easily. And I'm sure a lot of FNAF fans would be really happy to have Ennard in the game, as well as something like Springtrap. If you agree, leave a comment, or, I don't know, I don't have a petition or anything, but maybe if enough traction gets to this idea, some other people will repeat it, and it might get passed along to behavior somehow. But that's all I've got for today. I'll see you all next time.